just allow your attention to stay with the breath. Seeing if you can feel which of the two nostrils the breath is coming in and out of. And then shifting your attention from the breath and placing it in the palms of the hands. Just becoming aware of the temperature in the palms of the hands, the temperature of the backs of the hands. Noticing the fingers, the spaces between. Feeling for the extra sensitivity at the tips of the fingers where the nerve endings are. And then drawing your attention through the fingers and hands and into the wrists. So you can feel the space and the shape and the feel of the wrist joints. And as you breathe in, it's as if you can let the breath travel down through the shoulders and arms into the wrists, allowing the wrist to expand a little with your breath. Then bringing your attention to the soles of the feet. Noticing the temperature of the soles of the feet. The temperature of the tops of the feet. Noticing both the sole of the foot and the top of the foot at the same time. Being aware of the toes, the spaces between. And drawing your attention through the toes and feet and into the ankle joints. Just feeling the space and the shape and the feel of the ankles, and as you breathe in, letting the breath travel down through the body, through the hips and the legs into the ankles. And just feeling the ankle joints expanding with your breath. And then bringing your attention to the space inside your mouth. You can feel the space and the shape and the feel of that space. The teeth and the gums. The tongue, the root of the tongue. The hollowness of the throat. And that soft spot in the back of the throat, feel it beginning to melt a little. Notice where in the neck it's melting into. And then with your mind's eye, start to follow through the neck bones. Down through the upper back between the shoulder blades, through the middle of the back, all the way down through the sacrum to the tail. So that you have a sense of the full length of your spine. And perhaps you can feel the breath traveling up and down the spine like a wave. And as you breathe in, you can feel the breath travel up to the spine, to that joint between the head and the neck. And feeling that space there at the top of the spine begin to expand a little. And as you breathe in, just aware of the rib cage also expanding, opening up with the breath. And the breath coming into the shoulder joints, and the shoulder joints opening up. Feeling the breath come down with the diaphragm into the pelvis. And feeling that breath then travel down into the hip joints and filling the hips. So that with one breath you can feel both the hips and the shoulders opening out. And then allowing your attention briefly to just drop into the knees, feeling the complexity of the knee joint and comparing it to the simplicity of the elbows. And then dropping your attention down into the ankles and wrists once again, and see if you can feel the ankles and wrists simultaneously. With one breath, filling ankles and wrist joints. Feeling elbows and knees, hips and shoulders. So that you're aware of all the major spaces in the limbs. Bringing some awareness to the spine as it travels up and down. The breath traveling up and down the spine, creating a little bit of space as it moves. And then that larger space at the top of the neck where the head and the neck meet. So that you're aware of all the spaces within. Breathing in, just feeling all these spaces expanding, opening out. Aware of all the space around you as well as the space within. Just feel the floor beneath you, just notice it there, where you're lying, which parts of you are touching the ground. Noticing the space above. Feel it above your chest, arms, face and legs. Become aware of the space on your left. And be aware of the space on your right. Notice the space below your feet and above your head. So you can just feel all the space around you. All the space within. All the movements caused by your breath. Tuning into the little electrical currents, the sensations running through your body. Just being with what's there right now. And it's from this place of complete awareness that we begin our yoga practice. So just allow your attention So begin to fall on your breath once again. Feeling the breath and the movements that are caused by it. Taking a slightly deeper breath in order to wake yourself up a little. And when you feel ready to start moving a little bit more, moving fingertips and toes. And then we're going to bend up the knees. We're ready to begin with our little knee bend rock. So we've got the feet firmly planted on the floor. Palms of the hands are facing down. The whole of the body is still really relaxed. Remember, it's just like a blob of jelly, and it's only your feet and a bit of your legs that are working. So you're just getting this lovely rhythm in, this lovely shake. It might not start so easily. So just give it a little bit of time. And once the rhythm comes in, really hone in on that rhythm. As if there were a piece of music in the background that you were gently moving to. Try and relax the shoulders and the neck so that the chin can bob up and down quite naturally. If your mind wanders off, just bring it back to the rhythm. Now we're coming up to the 2-minute mark. So just starting to feel into how the body is, if it wants to stop. We've still got about 15 seconds to go, so you might want to carry on right to the end. And then we're just gently going to bring that to stillness if you haven't done so already. Observing that physical response and stretching out the legs. Take a nice breath in. And as you breathe out, really tuning into those sensations. Lovely. And so the next exercise that we're going to do, we're going to bend the knees up again and bring the soles of the feet together and the knees so that they're touching. And then we're going to gently start to move the knees to one side. Remember, this is really slow movement, as slow as you can make it. You're not trying to get a stretch. You're just trying to move as slow as you can. And once you start to feel that the upper body is being pulled along a little bit, that's probably your maximum point, and then you want to come back to the center. Again, as slowly as before. Remember, the slower the better. So you want it smooth, not start and stop. But slow, like you're drawing the most delicate line with your knees, really like a Japanese writer maybe, you know, with a paintbrush between your knees and you're just trying to draw the most perfect curve. Smooth but slow. That's quite strong, this exercise, so you might only want to do once on each side and then stop. If you've got a little bit too fast there, you might not be feeling the effects of it, so you might want to try again, see if you can go a little bit slower this time. And again, when you finish, you probably want to stretch out your legs at the end of that and just have a moment there. Taking in the body in its super relaxed state. After a couple of breaths, you might feel ready to move on. So at that point, you can wiggle your fingertips and toes. You can roll onto your side. Just give yourself time as you slowly bring yourself up to a sitting position. And just spend a moment here, orientating yourself. So I thought today we might work on joints again in a slightly different way. So before, when we've done joints, we've done a lot of joint movement, which we will do some of, but we're also going to sort of try and create length and space in the joints. And this will be all the joints, including a little bit of the spine as well. So quite a lot to do, so the pace might be a little bit faster than normal, just to try and fit it all in, but we might not, so just see. Okay, so hopefully you've had a moment there sitting. Let's come up then to standing. I hope it's not too far up. And we're going to start with the feet, as always, with the tiptoes and heels. Tiptoes and heels. So little toes all the toes coming off the floor, then the heel coming off backwards and forwards. So you're just getting again into a nice rhythm. If you overbalance, remember you can hold on to your chair or to the wall or to whatever you need. And we're waiting for these calf muscles and shins and the feet to start burning a little bit, which will be sooner for some than for others. So just see how it feels. When you start to feel that burning, it's usually a good time, but you're getting good at this, so this time is extending itself as your foot muscles and your calves get stronger. This will take longer, so you can expect to be doing this a little bit longer. So mine are just beginning now. Hopefully you're there too, but if not, carry on for a little bit longer. But let's just feel the feet sinking into the ground. And also have a sense of, what are your joints doing here? Are they sinking with the legs, or are you holding them up away from the floor? It's just a little before. And then we'll start with circling the ankle joints. Okay, so we've got the knee bent and we're just making circles through the ball of the feet. Again, if you need balance, hold on to something. And we want to go one way and then change direction. And you'll feel that when you're doing this with the foot, that you can almost feel the moment in which the ankle feels like it's had enough and you're ready to swap sides. So feel into that moment. It's different for everybody. For some of us, if you've got quite sore joints, it's quite quick. And for some of us who don't feel the feet very well, like me, it takes a bit longer before I actually feel it. So tune into that. Okay, and then we're going to, again, just stand and just notice that you can really feel your knees. Good. So for the knees movement, we're going to drop down onto one knee. Again, remember you can hold on to something here, and we're just going to start to gently circle this knee. So it's like you've got a pen and you're drawing a circle. So say that my thumb is this pen and I'm just trying to draw this circle with my knee one way. And this is doing quite a bit elsewhere. So again, just make sure that you're going gently. One way and then the other. And of course, feel into how that feels for your knees, especially being on your knees. Remember, you might need extra cushioning. You might want to fold your mat a little bit for that knee that's on the floor. It might not like it. That's it. So we're just changing direction with this other knee. Lovely. And then from there, we're just going to come back up to standing. So we can't do that one standing up, unfortunately, and we're going to start with the hips. So we've got the hands on the waist. We've been doing this one quite a few weeks now, so hopefully it's starting to get a little bit looser in there. But you might find, again, that when you first start, it doesn't feel like that, and it has to remember to loosen up. So we're circling one way and then circling the other. Good, and then if you want to, and it's not necessary, you can bring that into your figure of 8. And then we can go side to side. So, you know, we're just trying to get as much movement as we can. And then you can just be a bit random with it. It's like, oh, what do I feel like doing with my pelvis? Maybe I want to waggle my tail back and forth, round and round. What feels like something that your hips want to do? Great. All right, so hopefully that's created kind of nice warmth and movement in there. So this is how we're going to start the session. We're going to start with movement, and then we're going to come into creating space afterwards. So let's come on to hands and knees, ready to do the spine. So we can always start, once we've created space in the pelvis, we can always start the spinal work in the tail by carrying on doing those circles. It kind of feels like the right thing to do. So we're circling with the tail going up and down, side to side. Again, just getting that free movement. Remember, sometimes I ask you to write your name with your tail. That's quite nice as well. It gives the body something to think about and the way to move the back in a completely different way. And then we can start to go tail up and tail down. Tail up and tail down, and begin to bring that tail pelvic movement slowly up the spine. So you'll start to feel the middle of the spine participating in the movement, and then moving it up into the upper back. So you start to use the hands. Remember, when we get to the upper back, you've got a little push with the hands and a little pull. And then you bring it into the neck. And then start to really move the head, so tucking the chin in and lifting the chin up. So tail up, chin up, tail down, chin in. Nice and slowly, there's no hurry with any of these movements. It's a really nice, slow, gentle wave that comes up the spine, and you'll feel it starts off quite rusty. Give it a few goes, And it starts to really warm up, pulling with the hands as you go up, pushing with the hands as you tuck in. And then bring your spine to neutral, so whatever feels neutral for you. And then imagine that you've got a pencil in your belly button. So this will do all our joints and warming up now the shoulders. And we're going to draw with that pencil a figure of 8 on the floor. And you'll feel how the joints in the hips and knees and the lower half of the body feel much warmer than the joints in the arms and shoulders, because we haven't done them yet. So and of course, if you're doing your figure of 8 one way, at some point change direction. And when you feel like your arms or wrists can't take it anymore, because this is quite a big wrist movement you're doing here, then you can come down and rest in your child pose. So you can have one fist atop the other, head on your hands, if it's a long way down for you, or you can just have the head on the floor, the feet by the heels and the hands by your feet. And just take a nice breath in and relax. Notice how the breath is coming in and out of the spine. Just taking those few breaths, just seeing how you feel. Lovely. Oh. So still a little bit more work to do on the arms and shoulders. So hopefully you can feel that in the wrists. It's quite a good wrist workout, that one. Elbows are obviously a little bit harder to do. We can sort of circle them, but really when you circle the elbows, it's the shoulders that are moving. So this is why we're going to do this next pose. So you don't have to sit in the mermaid position, but if you do bring and you're comfortable in this position, you can. So you've got the foot level with this knee here. And then we're going to lean over. So this is why it's called the mermaid, because as you look down, it looks like you've got a fish tail. And then we'll start with the bent elbow. So you might remember this is the mermaid brushing her hair. So we're circling around the head. That's it. And just creating slightly bigger circles, especially behind us. Sometimes our circle is quite oval, so just try and see if you can push into the edge of that circle as you go behind with the elbow. And then of course you've got to change direction at some point. So you're back combing your hair. That's it. I'm trying to create all this space in that shoulder joint. This movement. Lovely. And then when you come up from there, and if you just tune into both the shoulders, you will feel that there's actually quite a dramatic difference between one side and the other. It's seemingly a very easy movement. So changing your legs around to the other side. If you're finding that it's too difficult to be in this position for your hips, remember you can just do whatever you need to do in order to be able to just lean on your elbow and move. You see I've got my foot up here. There's all sorts of different ways. So again, we're just combing our hair, circling. One way. And then the other. Lovely. Good. And so hopefully this time when we sit up, both our shoulders are feeling similar. And we're just going to take that sort of lovely warm movement into the little salsa dance. So this is where, you know, we're circling the shoulders around. It's like you're drawing circles and the axis is here, right in the middle of the chest. And then we swap directions. So really taking advantage of those smooth, warm shoulders now to bring some of that movement right into the upper back and breastbone, that shoulder and spine connection, warming up there. And as you know, this is a reflex move, so keep changing direction. We want to keep it up for a couple of minutes. Feeling that movement come in. And if you struggle with this movement quite a lot, you know, and you're thinking, oh, I'm not getting much movement in there, there is this alternative, which is the Spleen Rock. So you've got hand over the spleen, hand on the elbow, and you can do this little rock, which will allow a similar movement and a similar warmth in the upper back. So, you know, you've always got options. So remember, when you're struggling with something, have a little think, like, what is this area and what could I do instead? Because you've been doing yoga, some of you, long enough to remember, hopefully, what it is. Good. So then we're going to go forwards. So again, it's as if we've got that invisible hand here on the breastbone and back. So there's a hook, you're being pulled forward by the hook and back by the hook. So it's a little bit like cat-cow, but a little bit more centered on that upper body. And we're trying to keep the head a little bit more still now, so that actually it's just that breastbone that's really getting stretched. If you include the head too much in this, what happens is that you tend to sort of just do the head up and down and you forget to move the breastbone. So yes, the head is moving, but our focus is really on this breastbone here. So we're getting into this Moro reflex area as we finish off. And then we're going to finish off with just rounding the shoulders in big circles, both together. And then we're going to go up, back, and relax them down. So we've got nice relaxed shoulders. So you can be kneeling like me, you can be sitting cross-legged or on the floor or on a chair. Remember, you can get on the chair and do all of these. And then we're going to start with the neck. So we can just sort of start to feel that, oh yeah, this is the only bit we haven't quite done. So we're just circling little circles to begin with. Creating that space. I can feel all the crackles going on, smoothing out all those bubbles. As it becomes warmer, you might be able to increase the size of your circle. Be very careful, very gentle, slow. As you get bigger, slow down the movement. And then going the other way. Relax your jaw. And when you finish, remember to bring it back to the center of that pole and just have a moment just to relax your spine, let go of your shoulders. The orangutan arms. And then the last one for the neck is just going to be this sort of polishing. So it's often better to close your eyes for this one, where it's like you're just polishing the top of your flagpole, the top of the spine with your head, Shoulders are staying nice and still, spine is staying nice and still. This is what makes this hard, actually, is keeping the body still and having that sense that the head is functioning as a separate entity. And once you've got that feeling of separation, then you can start to drop your chin. So again, you're polishing the top of that flagpole. It becomes hard at some point to feel the separation, so work at it. Relax your jaw, that's really helpful. Coming back up, you're going to do the same going back. So the chin is lifting, again nice and slowly. You might not go very far. Relax your jaw. Back to the middle. When you stop at the middle, just again feel your spine relax, your shoulders relax. Take a breath in. Breathing out, orangutan arms. Let those shoulders really go. Lovely. Great. So that's all of the joints now. They've been all been given a little bit of stimulus, a little bit of movement. Now we're going to try and create some space. Okay, and we're going to work from the head down again. So we went from feet up. Now we're going to go back down. So let's come to standing. I'm going to start with a nice forward bend. So make sure your feet are firmly planted. If you need to have a chair there for security purposes, you need to hold on to, that's fine. Okay, just get the joints all moving. Just remind the lower body, it's been a little while, so let's remind that lower body. Just move everything a little bit, give it a shake. And then we're going to breathe in and create some space throughout the whole body. So interlace the fingers and pull up as you sink the feet down. Take a breath in. Imagine that the breath can get into every single joint and fill it up like a balloon. And then we're going to bend the knees and we're going to come and gently bend forward. Drop into the stretch. That means that you're bending the knees as much as you need to so that you can have a little hold of your head. So you're going to place the hands either side of your ears and just don't pull, but instead let the weight of the arms kind of create a load of space in the neck, as if you're sort of slightly letting the head go. Breathing into the spine. And now every breath is as if you're creating loads of space. Now, not everybody can stay that long in the stretch. So at any point you need to come out, curl out like a fern leaf. So starting with the lower back, each vertebrae stack one upon the other and the head comes up last. Relax your shoulders and take a breath. Okay, so we're going to do that a couple more times. But this time we're going to pay a little bit more attention at creating space in the spine. Okay, so as you breathe in, again, bring the arms up, stretch up, feel that stretch come in. And then as you breathe out and come forward, halfway down, we're going to stop. And we're going to reach forwards as if we're trying to get the wall, create space, and tuck the chin in. And then continue, bend the knees at this point. And hopefully now we've created a little bit more space. Again, we can use our hands. The head is a bit like a cannonball on a string, and the string is pulling down through the neck. Relax your jaw and down then into the spine. And then, of course, depending on your stamina in this forward bend, you decide when you want to uncurl. Nice and gently. Good. Lovely. So this third one, we're going to include a little back bend. So you can have your hands on your back here. If you feel a little bit insecure around back bends and you're worried that you might fall backwards, it's better to have the hands here so that you feel safe. If you're quite happy with back bends, you can have the arms up. Okay, so decide which one you want to do. The pelvis is going to go slightly forward, the head is going to sway slightly back. As you breathe in, you're going to reach. As you breathe out, you're going to come halfway down. So stay with the chin up, halfway down. You finish your out breath, breathe in, reach. Still with the chin up, and then breathe out, bend the knees. And now we've created loads of space as well in the lower back, as well as everywhere else. So you can have the hands on the head to create that space. So you feel the weight of that cannonball pulling down the spine. If you don't like that, you can just tuck the chin right in and breathe into the backbone, creating space that way. And of course, you deciding when you want to come out by gently uncurling. Lovely. And of course, whenever you come up to standing, you want to feel that fluidity in the body. So if anywhere feels stuck, so maybe your hips feel stuck, or your lower back feels stuck, or your shoulders feel stuck, or your head or your neck, we've just gone through the whole body. So hopefully it's fresh in your mind what you can do to get a little bit of movement in. Lovely. Okay, so something for the side of the body, maybe a little bit wider with the legs so that you're feeling a little bit more planted in the ground. I'm going to have both arms up, but one hand on one wrist. And then we're going to pull and create a little bit of space in the side of the body. So as you breathe in, think about the ankle, the knee, the hip, the rib cage, the shoulder, the elbow, and the wrist. Take a nice breath into all of them and create all that space. Lovely. And then swap. We'll do the other side. So you're thinking about all those joints and breathing into them. Lovely. Let's do that again. As the muscles warm up, more space can be created, you see. And then back to the center, a little bit of a lift up. And this time as you bring the arms down, really stretch out. So think of all that space. Reach out with the arms as you bring them down and take a breath. Oh, orangutan arms. Lovely. Good. So we're going to try and create a little bit more space in the lower back in this position. So let's bring the legs really wide now. Remember, with these triangle poses, it's an equilateral triangle. So the distance between your feet is roughly the length of one of your legs. So if you're quite tall, it should feel quite different, quite distant. Let's bring the arms up, breathing in. Again, we're creating that space as we reach. The arms are really feeling like they've got loads of space. We're going to come halfway down. Again, reach. So we really get into that lower back. And then when we come here, let's hang. So hang the head, hang the shoulders. If you need to have the knees just slightly bent, it's fine. If you can't reach the floor and you feel a bit unstable, bring the hands to wherever your legs you can reach. Or have a block, something that you can put your hands on. And while we're here, we're going to pretend that we can do a little bit of a cat-cow. So tail up, tail down, head down. Now this is quite hard because there's a lot going on in the sacrum.
So it is a really minuscule little movement. I'm probably making it look too easy and too big a movement. It's just a minuscule movement. When you're done, just relax. One hand in the center of the feet, one hand on your back. Push through the feet to create space in the spine, and then we can do this lovely twist. So we're looking up at the ceiling, and then we can bring the arm up if we fancy it. But if that hurts your shoulder or your neck at all, then stay with the hand behind the back. It's better that way for your neck. And then swap sides. So always starting with the hand on your back, turn. Arm goes up. And then we can just come back to the middle. Have a little drop down first. Feel that heavy head. It's really getting heavier and heavier. And then we're just going to reach out with the hands and bring the feet behind, and we're coming into downward dog. And here in downward dog, we're going to create a load of space in the spine. So feel that push through the hands, as if you're trying to pin your tail into the wall behind you. Every breath in, feel as if you can fill every little space between the bones of the back. And as you breathe out, little push, try and pin that tail even further behind you. Remember to keep the knees bent if your back aches. And then come back to child pose when you've had enough. Breathing into your lower back and creating as much space as possible in your lower back as you can. Lovely. And just spend as much time as you need there, breathing into that spine and feeling that lovely movement. We're going to do a little bit more of spinal work now that we're sitting. Just come a little bit closer. So we've got our legs crossed. And we'll just, again, just bring in some movement. So circling. One way, just a couple of seconds of this is really helpful. And this goes not just in yoga class, by the way, but throughout the day. If you can think of moving and circling the joints at any point in the day, especially if they're hurting, if they start to hurt, it's a really good thing to do to give them a little bit of input. Lovely. Good. Okay, so let's have the legs out in front. And we're just going to relax the legs. So you might want to do a little bit of tick-tock here before you start. If your legs are often quite pulled in, and you know that that's a case with you, then, you know, tick-tock on a regular basis at the beginning of any sitting postures is a really good idea for you. So, you know, if you remember, good. And then the legs can feel that sense of sitting down and pulling away. And then we're going to reach up with our hands. Okay, so just as when we were standing, only the legs are not involved this time, we're going to breathe in and feel that spine, that top of the head. It's like you've got a golden thread on the top of the head and you're being pulled upwards as the sit bones sit down into the floor. Just try that for a couple of breaths. And then when your arms are, you know, not going to cope any longer, we're going to bend slightly forward. And we're going to do it one more time here. So breathing in, tuck the chin in, reach with the top of the head. The hamstrings are starting to stretch, so we're going to release the arms, leave the head roughly where it is. And now we can try and relax our legs again. Breathing in, expand the spine. And as you breathe out, relax your legs. So we're creating as much space as we can with our breath. And with the out breath, we try and relax our legs as much as we can. Lovely. And that sort of gives us a really nice preparation. So when you come back to sitting upright, hopefully the legs feel a little bit more ready to be sat in this position. Remember, you can also just have a rolled up blanket underneath your knees if sitting like this is uncomfortable, or have a block that you can sit on. But what we're going to do is going to bend up one leg up so that we've got this side stabilized while we work with this other leg. So the hand is on this knee, and we're going to reach and grab hold of the big toe of this other leg. And what we're going to try and do now is give it a good stretch. So we're going to push that heel away from us. And think about creating space in the hip, the knee, and the ankle. Take a breath, relax your legs. Keep lengthening the spine. Lovely. So this is a little bit like the one that we do when we're lying down. You'll remember this. It's very similar, it's just we're sitting up. So swapping sides, bend the knee and reach out with the heel. Create as much space as you can. Think knee, ankle, hip. So it's like you've got a wall here on the heel, and you're trying to push that leg into it as much as you can. Lovely. Good. So for those of you that like to try things that are a little bit more interesting, we can do the same thing, but with two. So this is core work, so get that C shape in your body, tuck that chin in, feel the abdominal muscles activate, and push both heels away. Not as easy as I make it look, I have to add. But, you know, we like a challenge sometimes. Lovely. Okay, so if you're not challenging yourself, the next one is the same. So we've got one knee bent, one leg straight, but this time we're going to bring the leg out slightly to the side. So we're coming into the sciatic stretch. At this point, you can change hand position. You can hold on to the sole of the foot. It's a bit easier. If your knee stays bent, it's okay. But push away that heel, create space as best you can. Lovely. And then we can swap sides. So the foot goes on the floor, comes up, over to the side. Again, it doesn't matter how far you go, it matters more that you can really pull that heel away. And I know some of you will be dying to try this one. But be prepared, you might fall backwards if that core isn't activated enough. Lovely. Oh, and after all of that, you can feel when the legs come down, oh, we want to move that pelvis around. Just a lot of things changed. That lower back has had a really good stretch. Good, so let's let the heels come out. Let's see how this forward bend feels now with all that extra space here in the lower back. So we're going to breathe in, reach up. Coming forward, still reaching, 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 reaching. Remember, have the knees bent if your hamstrings don't like it. And tuck that chin in. Breathe into the lower back. Create space. And as you breathe out, drop those legs into the floor. Lovely. And hopefully you can feel that there's quite a big difference now. And when you come back up to sitting, we can let those legs go a little bit more. And then we're ready to lie down. So we're going to lie on our fronts first of all. And we're going to have a little bit of reflex relief here. And we're going to stay lying down. So make sure that your blanket is close by. But we're going to start off with this bottom roll. So we've got the hands one on top of the other, the head down on the hands as a pillow. And then the bottom is rocking from side to side. And it's a really little rock. You can probably feel that work that we've done there today. And this is going to soothe it all. And you're getting into a nice rhythm. So keep your awareness on that rhythm. As soon as you feel a little change, perhaps the lower back warms up, perhaps something in your system says that you've had enough, then look out for that. We are coming towards the end now. And then when you're ready, we're just going to bring that to a gentle stillness once again and just observe our lower back particularly, but also the rest of the body will be doing something. Lovely. So hopefully we've got a really nice relaxed lower back. And I just want you to see if you can find your pubic bone, keeping your back relaxed. We're just going to push that pubic bone into the floor, just slightly. This is going to be your anchor point. And then we're going to turn our elbows in towards each other, come up into the Sphinx Pose. And we're just going to give this back a lovely stretch. So we're sitting that pubic bone into the floor and we're looking up and trying to create space in the spine. So think about this. As you breathe in, you're going to pull the mat slightly towards you and create loads of space in the spine. And when you feel like relaxing, breathe out, just tuck the chin in. And then just have a few breaths like this. If you wish to, you remember with this one, you can turn the feet out and the heels in. If you've got a lower back that bothers you a lot, this is a really good exercise to do. It's a passive stretch, so your toes are pointing out and the heels are pointing in, and all you do is just wait for everything to release. Now, for those of you that want to work a bit harder, turn the feet in, bring the hands below your shoulders, and you can come up and create the same in this cobra pose. So you're sinking down that pubic bone, you're pulling the mat slightly forward, and as you breathe in, creating space. Breathing out, you can tuck the chin in or come all the way down and have another go. Pull that mat. And you feel like that snake that's reaching. And after a couple of those, you're definitely going to need to stretch out the spine. So we're just going to come and push back into that child pose. And just counterposing that there. Taking nice big breaths into the lower back. And hopefully we can really feel that that spine has had some really good input, a lot of space. And so we're then going to start to move up a little bit into the neck. So when you feel ready, we're going to once again be lying on our backs. And just enjoy that moment when you finally get to lie down after all that work. It's so lovely. And there's not long to go before relaxation. So the next few things that we do will be just to help our relaxation, but also just to finish off the areas of the body that we haven't quite dealt with. So the first one is we're going to interlace our fingers and bring the hands behind the head so that we're resting our head in our hands. And then we're going to try and tuck the chin in. And we're lifting the head and tucking in. So we're creating loads of space in the neck here. So remember, as you breathe, see if you can take the breath into that neck. And really help it to create space. If you want to, you can do a little bit of polishing, so slight side-to-side movement. It's just quite advanced, so your neck might not like it, so just give it a go, see how it feels. It's like you're oiling. You can do little circles as well, one way, then the other. You can perhaps feel a corresponding release in the sacrum. Legs feeling heavy. When your neck has had enough, you're going to place the head back down, but you want to really feel the weight of it. So let it be heavy. Keep the chin tucked in as you place the head on the floor. Release the arms to your sides. Let them be heavy. Shoulders sinking into the ground. And then we're going to do this same exercise we did at the beginning, where we're just going to shake, say a little no, tiny little no side to side, trying to keep that head independent from the rest of the body. So you can feel the weight of the shoulders and arms, particularly in the spine and the legs, and the head is moving on its own. Now, this is another of those very strong reflex moves. So feel into how long you want to do it for. Relax your jaw and throat. And at some point soon, something will tell you that it's time for you to stop this one. Sometimes it's just an increase in the tingling sensation. Sometimes it's a bit stronger than that. When you do finish, just feel that release that comes through the shoulders and arms. Almost there. So nice to be able to relax just then, but let's just do a couple more preparatory exercises. So let's bring the soles of the feet onto the floor. As we lift into our bridge pose, so tuck your chin in. We're going to lift the arms and we're going to reach with the arms. It really is as if somebody's tied a couple of ropes around your wrist and they're pulling the arms off the body. And we're going to bring them right down to as far as they will go. Some of us it's to the floor, but still reaching as the chin really gets a big stretch. So think about all the joints here, the neck, The shoulders, the elbows, the wrists getting space, and also the upper back. Let the upper back melt into the floor. Keep the lower back relaxed. In fact, all of the spine. Space, hips, space, knees, ankles. And then when you want to roll down, keep the arms there, still reaching, still creating space as you feel each vertebra. Now, some vertebrae tend to come in groups, that's okay. Just be aware of what groups they are. Where there's tension. As you roll down slowly, just be aware of it, breathe into it. When the pelvis reaches the floor, then you can relax your arms. Feeling the weight, you might want to bring them right round to your side so you're in that T shape as they relax. And for this week's twist, we're going to cross the legs. And then we're just going to let the legs fall down. So it depends which leg you've got on top. So say you've got the right leg over the left, then you're going to go towards the left. You've got the left leg over the right, you're going to go towards the right. Just bring the foot to the floor. It's a nice easy twist, turn the head the other way. And now just tune into where it's tight and where you need to breathe in space. It might be your hip, might be your shoulder, might be your neck. And for those of you that like to stretch a bit more, you can really bring the knee as far over as you can. But create space with your breath. Lots of space in the rib cage with this one. Again, you're going to want to decide yourself when you're going to swap sides. So you'll come back up again, cross the legs over the other way and let the legs fall as far as they're comfortable. Breathing in space. So this is going to be the last one after the twist. So when you come back to the center, just have a moment. Now you're nearly there. If you wish to cover yourself now, you can. So the legs are going to be straight anyway for the fish. The hands are underneath. Elbows will tuck in. And then we're going to push through the elbows and give that spine and breastbone a real sense of space. So as you breathe in, feel that space in that breastbone expanding. It might only be one breath, it might be more, just see how you feel. And then when you come down from that, the body is going to be very ready to relax. And you can feel yourself almost hammocked in the floor. It's as if the floor has become soft, a bit like a memory foam mattress. You're being allowed to sink into the ground. Make sure that you're warm enough. Remember, your body temperature does drop when you relax a little bit, so you want to make sure that you're not going to get cold. As you bring your attention, if you're ready, to your breath. Just feeling the breath as it travels through the body. Feel the breath travel down into your toes and feet. Feeling the muscles in the toes and feet warm. Letting go of their hold upon the bones. And just imagine that you can feel inside each and every one of the toe bones for the hollowness of the bone. And as you breathe in, let that hollowness expand a little bit. Feeling into all the little bones of the feet. Just imagine them if you can't feel them. And as you breathe in, feel each and every bone, the marrow of each and every bone expand. Fill with your breath, with the life force energy that is the breath. You might feel light or colour come into the bone. Or it might just be the breath, the air. Bringing your attention to the calves and shins, feeling the muscles letting go of the bones. And feeling the bones there hollow, the breath coming in and expanding. Feeling the breath come in to the thighs, feeling the thigh muscles letting go of the bones. And the big bones of the thighs expanding from the inside out with the breath. Filling them with the breath, the life force energy, the colour, the light. Bringing your attention to the pelvic bowl. And feeling all those bones just expanding slightly from the inside out. Being fed this life force energy, this breath, this colour. And then take your attention slowly up the spine, starting up the lower back and working your way up through the middle of the back, all the way up the spine to the neck. Just aware of every bone, every muscle that's letting go of the spine. And again, imagining that you can feel inside the marrow of all of these bones. And you can feel the breath traveling in and expanding and opening out each and every one of those bones from the inside out. Bringing your attention to the shoulder blades and the shoulders. Kind of feeling all the bones there. Muscles around them, letting them go. And allowing the breath to come into the bone itself and expand it from the inside out.
feeding it with the breath, life force energy, the light, the color, whichever one comes to mind. And then bringing your attention down the arm bones, upper arm and lower arm, feeling all the muscles there, letting go of those bones, and then also able to expand as you breathe into them. And bringing your attention into the hands, the little bones of the hands and all the little bones of the fingers, muscles letting them go. Feeling the breath coming into the bones, expanding, opening out, filling with life force energy and creativity. And as you breathe in, it's as if you can breathe into every bone in your body. Filling every bone with the breath. And feeling that joint between the head and the neck also filling up. And as the breath comes across the face and the crown of the head and the muscles let go of the bones, it feels as if as you breathe in that your whole skull is shining. Filled with this life force energy that is the breath with the color. And so as you breathe in, it's as if the whole body is filled with lightness and breath and space in every joint, light, full, energized. And as you breathe out, it happily rests on the floor, as if you were recharging your batteries. You're resting as you fill with energy. Life force energy of the breath traveling through the whole body as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, resting, letting everything soften and relax into the floor. Breathing in, feeling that lightness. Breathing out, feeling that release into the ground. And sometimes perhaps able to feel the both simultaneously, so that you're aware of this lightness, this airiness, and the rest and the weight at the same time. And if your mind wanders off, drifts away, that's okay. If it's busy, keep bringing it back to the body. Feeling that wonderful sense of energy and lightness and space as you breathe in. And feeling that sense of weight and release and letting go as you breathe out. and perhaps sometimes able to feel them both simultaneously. So just allowing your breathing to come back into your awareness. Just being aware of the breath as it enters and leaves the body. Feeling the relaxed body just for a few more moments. And when you feel ready, and that's a big if, you could just stay lie down if you wish. You're at home after all. Perhaps your body needs to relax for a little bit longer. You can wiggle fingertips and toes if you are going to move. Gently curling onto your side. Giving yourself a moment or two to orientate yourself in the room before you come up to sitting.